go back to Ari Goldkind, who's being interviewed right now.
So Ari, you weren't on the panel, but you were here. You attend many of the debates that you aren't necessarily invited to. What did you make of what you heard both from the audience and from the candidates today?
The audience had great questions. I think once again you saw scripted talking points, you saw slogans being repeated, you saw evidence of an unholy alliance between those two. These are people in the audience who need action now. First you have transit as the #1 priority, then you have childcare, then you have affordable housing. These people just spent $5 billion tonight, but on tax policies they're the same, not one new dollar of revenue, and people in this room can't wait. So I have a tremendous amount of sympathy for people in this room who are leaving here right now very unsatisfied by what they saw.
If you would have the opportunity to take the microphone and to offer your own thoughts on affordable housing and how sort of immediate relief and immediate affordable housing would be made available in the city, what would your answer be?
My answer would have been twofold. One, we're putting out an incredible housing policy early next week. As you know, I'm all about policy and a vision for the city. Two, I would have stood up in front of these people and explained exactly how my plan would be funded. Because all of these promises are made in these election seasons every 4 years. These are the same promises as 4 years ago. The problem is worse. The backlog is worse. The division of wealth in this city is worse. Income inequality is worse. I would have stood up and explained to people how my plan raises $1 billion of new revenue over my first term, and I would actually be open about where the money comes from. That is something that people did not hear in that room. So once again, they're going to go home and there will be no change.
Okay, so one of the things that we heard both in the debate earlier and in the scrums with reporters is that the two candidates, they differ when it comes to what to do right away. One says that they'd like to tackle the backlog, the repair backlog. The other says we need to build affordable housing right away. Where's your stance on that?
They don't differ at all. They have the exact same policy because, as you know, you've heard the city manager, you've heard every expert say that without revenue, we can't make a dent in things. So they are actually the same. The three are the same. And that's why I think what I've said has caught on throughout the city, because people are saying, wait a minute, he's actually talking about where the money was coming from. First thing I would do is talk about the backlog and funding it. And my 50 cents a day plan, which people all over the city are now starting to tune into, would fund that.
Through a property tax increase?
Through a property tax increase, which would be the equivalent of $182 a year on the average $600,000 house. And when people hear that, they're like, they don't want to pay more taxes, and I get it. But then you say to somebody, is improving the lot in life of the 600,000 people who are lower income in Toronto worth an extra 50 cents a day per household? There are a lot of people in this city answering yes to that question.
So that money would be allocated to both housing and...
And there's our Jackie Crandall speaking to Ari Goldkind. He is running for mayor. He was not allowed on the podium.